Hello, Brooke. Today I want to talk to you about writing. I want to ask you, what are some tools you can give us on writing?
Yeah. So individuals with ADHD struggle with executive functioning. And due to those executive functioning challenges, it really impacts our writing. And the writing that aligns with executive dysfunction is organization of your writing, getting started, organizing your ideas, getting them onto paper, paying attention to details, having your ideas in your mind long enough before you can get it down. So our executive function really impacts the outcome of our writing.
Yes.
I hear from many people it's hard to generate ideas. And also, we have some accompanying conditions as well, including poor motor skills sometimes, dyslexia, anxiety, and learning disabilities. Some just tips and tricks for that, ways to get started in your writing is to think about the end in mind, right? Think about the idea that you want to create and then work backwards. However, for a lot of ADHDers, they don't even know where to start. They don't even know what the idea is. So something that I like to do is just brainstorm. Take a piece of paper and write down words that come to your mind. Just words, listen, 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 listen. And then as soon as you're out of the list, stop, look at the list, and potentially categorize certain themes into a graphic organizer or mind map. So then you can now organize all of the random chunks of information into topics that might align into a paragraph of some sort. Another thing that you can look at is, sentence starters. Sentence starters for the beginning of your essay, the end of your essay, that might help just starting to get into the flow of your writing. And then, the general tools that we've given before, make sure that you are set up for success, like with, exercising, getting appropriate sleep, making sure that you are calm while you're writing, drink some water, because that anxiety that's associated with executive dysfunction that comes out in your writing can literally make you freeze when you're trying to generate ideas and write.
100%. When I think writing, I think all the essays and reports I had due in college. I'm still in college. I have a report due tomorrow at 8 a.m. And procrastination is the one of the biggest takeaways I get from writing. And I think getting started is so important. When I procrastinate, I finish the essay. It's great. But I saved all the 8 hours for the last day sometimes, whether it's 6, 8 hours, 5 hours. And when I think about it, I could have done an hour every day for, a week. It would have been so easy. It would have been, and I had those hours. I could have done it. Maybe some days not, but I could have done it earlier. And it's so important to set those time slots, reminders, plan ahead of time. I think you need to start writing no matter what. The water does not flow until the faucet is turned on. And
Ooh, I like that.
once you start writing, you're flowing. You're letting all the words out. You might fall into that hyperfocus too, which is very key. And I think starting is so important.
Yeah, yeah. And this is something that I remember a mentor teacher of mine when I was student teaching.
Mhm.
She said to me when, writing lesson plans or coming up with ideas for lessons, look to see what else is out there. Sometimes we just need to research a little bit and generate ideas. Then put it in, put whatever ideas you want. And of course, write in your own words and come up with your creativity in your writing then, if you really have no starting point.
Yes, yes. Mind mapping, figuring out what your idea is. I think the way you want to think of it, if you don't have time to read, you're not going to have the time or the tools to write. It's that simple. You need to read. You need to research what you're writing, or even just read in general. Read other books. Understand how sentences are structured. How you start with your first paragraph and conclusion. et cetera, et cetera. Also the topic. An interesting topic is super important. It is a major motivator. You want to be interested, engaged in the topic. As a college student, classes give you a prompt. You got to follow these specific situations and instructions. So it's kind of tough sometimes to have that, that level of freedom. But I think there's always something there. If there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, you must write it. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and write it. I always think like that. If there's something that hasn't been written about, write it. If there's something that you're interested about, write it. And I think it's very important to find something that you're interested in. Mind map it, take the time, set those reminders, use your time wisely, and be simple, stay concise. Just get your
Yes, I love that. The simple, keep it super simple.
Yes.
I think almost like a painting, your writing is never done, right?
Yes.
So I think that you get to a point and it needs to be done. And for many of my grad students, when they're writing their thesis, they don't know when to be done.
Yeah.
There's all this more information that they can put in. So phone a friend, someone that you trust, and you can always pass what you think to be finished off to them for them to review. So you can get out of your own head sometimes and say, okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm done.
Yes. Maybe setting limitations too, because like you said, you can keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. And
Exactly.
those limitations, be concise. Make sure you get your point across, stay simple. Listen, you can always edit a bad page, but you can't edit a blank page too. And I think you have to understand that you're always going to want to edit and edit and edit. But as long as you have something on paper, that's the important thing. And don't worry about the end product, the conclusion, starting, going ahead, and using tools around you. I mean, that school, there's writing centers, there's tutors, people that help you. If your school doesn't have that online, there's a lot of writing help and aid you can find online. I bet there's people who are willing to review your work out there, and there's other things like speech to text. If you don't feel like writing, you can say something.
Read my minds.
Say something on a voice memo, transcribe it. I think those are super important. If you like speaking rather than writing, that gets a job done really quick. So things like that, if you want to strengthen the way you write in general, maybe your English isn't your strength. I came from Lebanon, freshman year of high school, and I was there for 5 years. I was born here. I lived here from ages 1 to 10, but in those 5 years in Lebanon, I wasn't speaking English as regularly as I would here. I came here, my English wasn't my strength. It took me some time to get better at writing, and using things like synonyms online. Just, you don't want to use good and bad. You want to use maybe some more complex terms. So you use synonyms, maybe difficult or et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? It's a little more.
Absolutely.
So I think it's something that with practice and experience, you get better. With reading, you get better. And
Yeah.